YCS Sydney, Australia has come and gone, and actually there were some pretty interesting decks to come out of this week, or out of this event. So we're going to be looking at Jesse Cotton's top deck list as well as the first place Altergeist list. Now Jesse's list is very interesting. I didn't think we would see a spin on Thunder Dragons on this level in a real long time, and I'm actually shocked. Combining the already potent power of the Danger Engine, I'm expecting there to be a mass limitation of Danger cards some point in the near future, because this engine is degenerate. Why do we all have draw powers built into the deck? And you know what? Let's combine it with one of the decks that has the highest power ceiling in the game at the moment through, you know, the Thunder Dragon fusions of Colossus and Titan, and you create this really impowerable hybrid that looks to do a couple of things. So, if you're going second, you get access to this guy right here, Mermare. Can't be special summoned except by the effect of a Wyvern monster, and then during your main phase, you reduces cards leveled by 1 and special summon a Mermare token, level 1. Like, okay, free link spam, no self-restrictions. We've talked about that this card would probably get banned at some point, but it's still sitting around here. Now, you get access to that through Yazi. Yazi will basically detonate himself, and then when this card is controlled, this card that you control is destroyed by battle card effect. And special summon a Wyvern type monster from your deck in defense mode. Hi, you trip into this. And then of course you have access to things like Destrudo that you don't really care if it goes to your graveyard. Now, how are you going to get to all of this? Well, Destrudo can be reached by drawing it. And of course, we're packing a 13-card draw engine, or excuse me, a 12-card draw engine, all in the form of the Danger monsters in our deck. Excellent, right? Like, as long as we continuously hit those Danger cards, we'll be able to turbo through. And it's not like you don't have things like Allure of Darkness to kind of turbo you through. I mean, and you can also deck them through the power of Gold Sarcophagus, or if you get 2 Foolish Barrel, get along the way. Now, there are other really cool things with this deck. You also have our friend Grinder Golem here. Give your opponent this guy, you get some tokens. You don't really care about what happens to you outside of that. You know, you've also got access to Fairy Tale Snow, which you're probably going to end up dropping off Curious or some other combo piece that you need. Overall, looking at this deck and looking at like the toolbox ability, I can understand why Jesse did so. I believe he went 14-0 and then lost in the finals. If that's true, that's impressive as all get out. So, this is a new spin on some Thunder Dragons. So we have 1 Danger Chupacabra, 2 copies of Danger Mothman, triple copies of Danger Nessie, triple copies of Danger Jackalope, and triple copies of Danger Tsuchinoko. We also have triple copies of Destrudo. We have 1 copy of Dot Scraper, gotta love revivability. 1 copy of Fairy Tale Snow for that disruption on your opponent's turn. Actually, this is pretty broken in terms of things. We have 1 copy of Gemini Amber. I mean, why not take advantage of Brilliant Fusion? We have 1 copy of Glow Bulb, 1 copy of Grinder Man, 1 copy of Mermare, 2 copies of Mathematician, triple copies of Thunder Dragon, triple copies of Dragon Dark, 1 Dragon Duo. We have 2 copies of Dragonhawk, 2 copies of Dragon Matrix, and 2 copies of Dragon Roar. The spells, we have triple copies of Allure of Darkness, triple copies of Brilliant Fusion, 1 copy of Foolish Barrel, triple copies of Gold Sarcophagus, 1 copy of 1 for 1, copy of Soul Charge, 1 copy of Thunder Dragon Fusion. Down here in the extra deck, we have 1 copy Summon Sorceress, 1 Saruji, 1 Reproticus, 1 Link Karibo, 1 Unicorn, 1 Phoenix, 1 Curious, 1 Yazi, 1 Brionic. First time we've seen Brionic in a hot minute, actually. 2 Titans, triple Colossus, and 1 Seraphite. Side deck, we have 2 Lancia, 2 Prankatops, triple Gamma, 1 Driver, 1 copy of Griffin, 1 copy of Order, 2 copies of Impermanence, 2 copies of Rid Reboot, and 1 Summon Limit. A couple of things to point out, though. Actually, the fact that Jesse side decks the Griffin gives him access to stupid things like the Imperial Order and the Summon Limit, because Griffin does allow for you to bring back the card that you want to set for the Kolink. I actually think that Griffin is probably one of the more interesting cards in the game, but it's only after certain limitations were made that we kind of started exploring this more. He's definitely the better piece of the end of the degenerate combo spam that you probably see in a lot of these decks. Now, this deck does take advantage of Reproticus. Kind of funny, actually. We never really got to see Reproticus see a lot of play in the OCG because they have Needle Fiber. Needle Fiber literally acts as Reproticus. Now the TCG is, of course, it's kind of funny. You make Reproticus and you still allow Summon Sorceress to exist, and you don't expect people to abuse this. But yeah, we've gone down this paradigm now. This is how we're doing everything. Now this deck doesn't super turbo well. you can probably achieve one Saruja. It's not like you're trying to sit here and make this deck go vroom vroom as you're trying to go. You're just drawing your combo pieces, you're making a board that your opponent, well, really can't break, per se. I also really like his ratios on just the straight 2 across of these. The fact that these are all once per turns does inherently hit them, so you don't want to go too crazy on them. You could definitely tell looking at the deck build that he was literally just like, okay, I'm either OTKing you, or, you know, if the game gets back to my next turn, I should already be able to physically have a game on board. I think that was a good method of going about it. I do like everything that's present here. I do like the spicy summon limit in the side deck, something else that you can capitalize off of the Griffin. 500 IQ plays. I definitely really like that. Outside of that, I think everything is kind of what we started to expect from the deck. We've kind of started putting good cards inside of core decks now at this point, and we've definitely started to see, well, this is kind of where we're going. I mean, when broken things like Mirror exist, why should we stop trying to abuse them? But yes, this is Jesse's list. Now, moving on along to the first place Altergeist list, in a format dominated by Sky Striker in the field. One little village stands against all else. Spellcaster Village, ladies and gentlemen. It's here. There's no metaverses in this deck. We're not doing any of that cheeky activate that shit on your opponent's turn. No. We're just straight playing 3 copies of this. We draw it, we draw it, we don't draw it. Okay, it's cool. But for the most part, yeah, we're back at it again. Also, back at it even harder with Triple Rivalry. I think this is by far probably the most cookie cutter version of Altergeist that I've actually seen. I do like that he's not playing Metaverse. I think a lot of people like to try to max out on just making sure that they can draw their field spells, but in retrospect, if you're trying too hard to achieve something, you're also kind of putting, taxing, I guess, stuff that you don't want to do on the deck. Like, it could be better cards. And I definitely think, looking at this, though, well, one, we're going to have a new age of Altergeist players running around now because of this. So that's one thing to be said. But this deck is a lot of fun if you're not on the receiving end of it. So, we have one copy of Kunkuri, Mr. Negator himself. You sick of your opponent doing things to you, well, you can stop the attack. Triple copies of Marionetter, of course, the core normal summon, set that Altergeist spell and trap card from your deck. Triple copies of the Melo Zeke. You want to attack your opponent directly? Go ahead. Triple copies of Multi-Faker, special summon Zilla Man, and of course, 2 copies of Zilla himself. We have 2 copies of triple copies of Ash Blossom. And outside of this, this is probably the best monster lineup there ever has. We have Kill 10, Draw 2, triple copies of Secret Village, and only 1 copy of Terraforming. This didn't necessarily surprise me that we've only seen 1 copy of Terraforming in the deck, but once again, you don't want to load down the deck with things like Metaverse and Terraformings, because then you're going to end up dead drawing, and you're going to be even madder at yourself. 1 copy of Manifestation, 2 copies of Protocol, the ratio. We have 1 copy of Imperial Order, the auto win button against Sky Striker. Triple copies of Impermanence. Triple copies of Personal Spoofing, triple copies of Rivalry of Warlords, 1 copy of Solemn Judgment, triple Solemn Strike, and 1 Warning. The extra deck is a lot of Cherries targets, and I'm kind of surprised to not see that he was packing in Sky Striker cards for Cherries, but I guess if you've already got enough hate, you're not going to bring in more. So we have 1 Wheat Witch's Apprentice, we have 1 copy of Saruja, 1 copy of Prankix, Rip Roarin' Roaster. It's the guy that wipes the back row. I can definitely understand why this would be a Cherries target. We have 1 copy of Nin, 1 copy of Link Karibo, 1 copy of Unicorn, 1 copy of Phoenix, 1 copy of Isolde, 1 copy of Curious, 1 copy of Clara and Rushka, 1 copy of Borlode, and then Altergeist cards, we have 1 Prime Banshee, triple copies of Hextia. Hextia is actually probably the best Link 2 that this deck has going for it. Side deck, we have triple Lancia. Started to see this a lot more now. Evenly Matched is a very broken card against this deck. This deck can get blown out against it if you have nothing, and you're trying to use this and Mind Crush as means to kind of protect your investment. Hit the evenly out of your opponent's hand. You're essentially good to go. So, triple Lancia, triple Prankatops, triple copies of Ghost Reaper and Winter Cherries, triple copies of Evenly Matched back, and triple copies of Mind Crush, wrapping up this deck profile. So I will say, this is about where the meta is looking. I'm not really shocked with the way that things are going at the moment. But what do you guys think about the first and second place list from Australia this week. Please leave a comment down below, tell me what you guys think, and well guys, I'm out. Peace. The ride never, well, truly ends. Thank you, patrons. Without you guys, I don't know what I'd be wearing in these videos. I might be a truffle shuffle incident all over again. Guys, please also check out Vanquil40 for some awesome Vanguard content. Some other interesting stuff you might find up here on the left or in the description as well. Thanks for watching.